China wrote for the New York Times over the weekend. As Beijing prepares for President Trump's visit this week, I see a dangerous new overconfidence taking hold in my native country, based on misplaced notions of American decline. I fear it is fueling a sense of intransigence that is making Chinese leaders more willing to weaponize their nation's power and less likely to back down in future confrontations with the United States. The belief is partly a defense mechanism to help Chinese people cope with their own problems, a slowing economy, a collapsing property market, high unemployment, and a widespread sense of uncertainty. Now, again, one of the things that's happening here is that people in China are being allowed to see by the Chinese government coverage of what's happening in America. And because that coverage is very often negative about America, that is ramping up the Chinese government's perception of strength. It turns out that what we say to one another here in the United States has a massive outsized impact abroad. This is why you will see members of the woke right appearing on Iranian television in clips or on Russian television in clips. It is true that when you say things that are untrue about the United States, and when you spread the idea that America is on her last legs, that's actually quite good for America's enemies. And as you can see, both China and Russia are trying to claim that the...
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of How Ridiculous, where we talk about everything that's ridiculous, no matter what side. It can come from the left, from the right, the center, up, down, sideways, we don't care. We take ridiculous from everywhere and discuss it. I did actually take a look at some comments from my last video, and I want to put it out there that, listen, here, rest assured, we are going to talk about ridiculous from all sides, not just one. So rest assured, keep watching the videos and you'll realize we take no sides here. So as we saw, we're discussing Ben's video. In this clip, he talks about how it makes the country weaker when we have critical discussions or discuss United States critically, openly within the media, and we should not do that. A quick question comes to mind. Where was that same sentiment when he was doing it, along with the entire crew, during the Biden administration? Wasn't it making the country weaker then as well? Hate it. It's always the one side, right? And when they take one sides like this, right? That's when people stop trusting talking points, talking heads, political commentators, right? Because you can clearly see they're being biased. There's no consistency. He was doing the same thing during the Biden administration as he's asking us not to do. Be critical of the United States and the leadership now. I think that's all right, and I think we should do it. But anyways, right? If we don't have these discussions in public, where are we supposed to have this? Are we supposed to start like a national group chat or something, like maybe a WhatsApp group or something, and message each other there? Write letters to each other? Ben, these things always happen in the public, right? That's always been the thing. The fourth pillar of democracy, so it's called, it's the media, right? Literally, these debates happen on CNN, Fox, CNBC, and us yelling at the TV back and forth. These are the discussions that are healthy for the democracy, healthy for society. So I don't agree with that. That's just my point. Let me know what you guys think. Maybe you guys are all for it. Maybe we shouldn't discuss this in public. Let me know if I completely missed it. I think it's all right. I think it's our duty to discuss this in public. Again, let's move on.
Global power. So Vladimir Putin, who again is a war criminal, here he was suggesting that multipolarity must be based on the UN Charter. Again,
as you notice here, right? He talks about Putin, calling him a war criminal. Listen, Putin's not my uncle. He's not my cousin. I don't care. He can be a war criminal. That's fine by me. The only thing that I have a problem with is, has he ever called out Benjamin? You know from where? Benjamin Bibi. You know who I'm talking about. Has he ever called him out? Because as far as I know, the ICC issued the same warrant that they did for Putin for Bibi, right? But I don't think I've ever heard Ben talk about it. Ben mention it. I don't think I've ever heard Ben say that makes Bibi a war criminal too. Maybe I'm wrong. Has he ever done it? I've looked back quite a bit, and I've never heard him call him out. Now, again, why is that? Why won't he call him out? Again, maybe my read on Ben is wrong, right? But if the same warrant is issued for both the guys, wouldn't that make both the guys war criminals? But yet, Ben only conveniently calls out one. And again, not that I'm siding with Putin, but I'm saying if Putin is, so is the other. But Ben chooses to only call out one. Wonder why. Let's keep going here. So as we saw here, he's criticizing Putin, saying that Putin has no right to talk about multipolarization or multipolarity because he's in a war with Ukraine. Okay, fine. I'll take that argument, Ben. But since you are
But again, it was true of the Soviet Union in the 1950s and 60s, this idea that the Soviet Union was going to bury us. And it's true now of China. But China is not the economic powerhouse we are making it out to be. Now, they can direct their economy in a few different directions with serious power. And they can take whatever they have of their economy and they can cobble it together and they can punch in one direction. So, for example, if they want to generate extraordinary levels of power, they can build lots of nuclear plants or they can dig for coal. And they don't care about the environmental effects. So they can really outproduce us in terms of energy. And they have been. Or they can build some new cars that are pretty competitive by stealing and adapting Western technology, which they do. But let us be real. The Chinese economy is not truly competitive with the American economy in any serious sense. Their products are not better than ours. Their services are not better than ours. Their economy is not better than ours. Not even close. Not even close. Again, it is just a misnomer. The reality is that China's nominal GDP per capita, and probably is lower than this, is like $15,000 a year. $15,000 a year. They have the same GDP per capita as Kazakhstan. The United States, our nominal GDP per capita, right? We're all suffering. It's just terrible. Our economies, we hear this all the time. Right now, our nominal GDP per capita is $95,000 a year. The average American, right? If you just take the GDP and divide it by the number of Americans, our economy is like 7 times the size of the Chinese economy on a per capita basis.
Here is talking about GDP, how our country's GDP is way larger than China's GDP. No doubt it is. 100% agree with Ben here. Much higher. It's always been higher. But while Ben is talking about GDP numbers, meanwhile, I was wondering where gas station sandwiches became a luxury item, right? Don't you? The problem is in what the GDP numbers are, right? The problem is what can my dollar buy against what their dollar can buy for them, called PPP, purchasing power parity. Let's kind of simplify that and kind of dumb things down, right? So, for instance, if you had $5, what can you buy today in today's world for $5? Can you go to McDonald's and even buy a meal for $5? Not at the McDonald's I go to. The heck with McDonald's, right? What can you buy at a gas station for $5? Not much anymore. $5 isn't worth what it used to be. So even though our GDP is higher, it seems like they could probably buy more than us. In fact, you know what? Let's do a quick search and see what chat has to actually tell us. Okay, I'm going to read exactly what chat just showed us. GDP by PPP, which is purchasing power parity. How much stuff and services can people actually buy domestically? Since many things in China are cheaper, labor, housing in many regions, services, manufacturing inputs, the same dollar equivalent amount buys more there than here. Approximate PPP figures. China about 38 to 40 trillion, United States 29 to 30 trillion. So by PPP, China is already the larger economy. I get it. He wants to compare GDP and not talk about PPP. GDP being the larger number has to do with foreign trade, foreign currency, currency valuations, and such things. But at the end of the day, what am I worried about? I'm worried about what I can buy for me, for my family when I go out. What is my dollar capable of doing? And if we're going to compare that to what they're doing over there, I'm not saying it. Chat is saying it. Clearly, it says here. So by PPP, China is already the larger economy. The reason I bring this up, not because I hate the US, because Ben doesn't even want to talk about it, doesn't even want to have the discussion that we've got a problem, that our dollar used to go a long way before than it does now. That is an issue. These things need to be talked about rather than just shrug it under the rug. It's not about GDP. I'm not saying it's not at all about GDP. It's not all about GDP. It's about PPP. What can I buy with what I earn? Guys, this is it for today. Again, just like you did on the last episode, let me know what you guys think below in the chat. If you guys think I completely missed the point, if you think Ben is right, I'm wrong, maybe I'm just a head let me know. Let me know what your opinions are. Let me know where I'm missing the point. I'm willing to fix it. And if I'm wrong and I'm ridiculous, please let me know that too. Thank you. And be safe, be happy. See you guys next time.